We're live, ready to go live. 1, 2, 3, and we're live. I'm Glenn, City Valley Fishing Field Team, and this round we're talking the Real Cast Fishing podcast, specifically the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing series. And in this round, we're going to be talking 71 through 75, tip 71 through 75. We'll read it and then go right into discussing it. And then I got a few things that I want to touch base with y'all on from the last time we met. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and start off with tip 71. A hitch in time. Trout spend more time in swift, shallow water than we might imagine, particularly when oxygen is scarce during summer heat. The challenge of catching them lies in making good presentation in difficult currents. The solution coming from making this condition work for you through a device called the riffle hitch. To do this, throw a half hitch onto the side of a small streamer or hopper, a 1/4 inch or so behind the eye of the hook, always on the side of the fly nearest you as you look downstream. Experiment with the hitch placement until you find the proper balance, with each fly with a cording cast downstream. The fly skitters across the surface in a way that excites trout to vicious strikes. All right, so I'm trying to picture this one, and it's a little bit hard to picture, but it sounds like you do a little half hitch in the line, and it causes it to quarter and skitter across the surface. But I'm not really picturing this one, so yeah, I got to think about it. Let's go back again and see what this says. Trout spend more time in swift water, shallow water than we might imagine. Okay, oxygen is scarce in the summer heat. They lie in challenge being making a good presentation in difficult currents. Okay. Solution comes from making this condition work for you through a device called the riffle hitch. Okay, so it's trying to get your fly presentation where there's some difficult currents. And excuse me. Let's see. To do this, you throw a half hitch on the side of a streamer. Okay, behind the eye of a hook. Always on the side of the fly nearest you. Okay. Experiment with the hitch placement until you find the proper balance with each fly. With the corny cast, the fly scooters across us and with it excites. I don't know. I'm stuck on that one. I'm a little bit stuck on that one, so I'm gonna skip that one for now and just keep that in your back pocket. If you guys know anything more about what they're talking about, specifically this half hitch, well, just reach out. All right, I'll be listening. Okay, next one, 71. A hitch in time. Trout spend more time in swift, shallow water than we might imagine, particularly when oxygen. Oh, correction. Already been there. Let's go switch over. Spider-Man rules. Tip 72. Spider-Man rules. Excuse me again. When trout turn lethargic, it's time for a wake-up call. Lee Wolf's favorite alarm bell was a spider skated across the surface of a pool. There's something about a wispy pattern performing a delicate ballet across the water that fish seem unable to resist. Even if it doesn't move the fish, just performing this maneuver will keep you entertained for a while. Okay, so spider skated, lethargic wake-up call. Okay, delicate balance. Let's see, it doesn't move the fish. Wispy pattern. Okay, all right. I can picture this one. So it's a wispy pattern, a fly that well, maybe looks like a spider. It's got a lot of things reaching out of the body itself, and it's really tentacly, I guess, or leggy. And I guess that's the suggestion that it's saying. This is looks like a spider, and maybe the trout will be more responsive in striking there. Okay, I can go with that one. All right. Excuse me again. Next one, tip 73, night moves. Smart fishermen know that the best action often occurs when most other anglers are eating, drinking, and sleeping. Lacking eyelids, all fish prefer periods of low light. It's particularly true of reclusive species such as brown trout. If you want to catch more and bigger fish, try fishing very late or very early and late, even at night when conditions are right. Older, larger trout in particular have a natural aversion to light and the human activity that comes with it. The size of your catch generally will be in the inverse proportion to the degree of daylight. The first thing you achieve with this strategy is to get rid of nearly all the other fishermen. Places that might have been crowded early in the day now fairly ooze tranquility. Trout that may have remained hunkered down against the onslaught will now venture out to feed aggressively. On still water, larger trout feel more at ease near the surface, both from the standpoint of temperature and safety. You'll now find them prowling the shoreline shallows in search of meal, well in range of your casts. Streamfish more readily accept large, bushy flies on the surface, and violent strikes are easy to detect even in the dark. Oh, nice, nice. So let's go back and see what the suggestion here is. 73 night moves. So it's basically telling you to go and fish at night, or as it gets darker, it's likely that you'll get more strikes. Plus, you get the added benefit of, excuse me, of less fishermen on the water since it's night. All right, I like that one. Tip 73. Okay, let's go to tip 74. The refusal rise. What the fish said. Some of the life's best lessons are learned through adversity, such as times when a nice trout bulges right beneath your fly but doesn't eat it. Behind every rejection, there's usually a message. More likely than not, the fish is saying your fly is too big. If you're watching the hatch closely, you probably got the insect and color right, but you may have overlooked size. Almost always, the most important element is matching a hatch. Unless you're dealing with hoppers or some other big terrestrial, trout generally are less suspicious of small flies than a large one. When you get a kind of refusal, you know the trout is interested, but something isn't quite right. One false rise may be an anomaly. Get two, and you'd better take action. Okay, I like this one. I've used larger flies and noticed that the fish will turn away multiple times, and usually that tells me something is not right with that particular fly, so I need to switch it up and maybe try something different. What I didn't recall is maybe I should have went with that same fly since they're already attracted to it, but instead go with a smaller size. I didn't think about that one, so let's keep that one in our back pocket next round. Okay, last one this round, a hanging offense. The place, a deep pool on a western river where the water below the dam has slowed to a trickle. The hour, dark 30. The situation, large rainbow trout rolling noisily where the trickles enters the pool. The problem, after just 2 casts with a woolly bugger, all feeding stops, every fish put down. The solution? The inadvertent discovery that these trout will take a hanging fly, one waving in the current with no retrieve motion at all. Our perplexed angler let the fly dangling in the slack glow while pawing through his fly box for a replacement. Suddenly the line went screaming off into the darkness with a big fish attached. After fighting the big bow, our angler patiently repeats the procedure and is rewarded with another jarring strike. 3 rainbows later, the reality is sunk in. The trout were frightened by the moving streamer. It's time to slow down, let the fly wave naturally in the current, forming the silhouette of a small bait fish while allowing the natural movement of the materials to do the work. Okay. I can picture that one, definitely, where I'm not getting any strikes, and, well, I just left the line in the water, and I'm playing around, excuse me, in my fly box, and lo and behold, I get a hit, because it was just sitting there. So yeah, keep that one in your back pocket. Shift over to a no retrieve, possibly, if all of a sudden the trout quit striking on retrieves or casts where you've actively started moving the fly and whatnot, and just kind of switch it up. So, okay, I'm with you there. All right, so those were tips 71 through 75, the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. And well, next time we meet for this series, we'll go through 76, 77, up to 80. And hopefully we'll be able to read through them and discuss them, touch base. If you hear anything or see anything that kind of pikes your interest, reach out and maybe we can talk further on it, or maybe pull in some other folks that may have some additional things they want to discuss. But that said, let's go to touching base on specifically several things. One last week they held TRWD Fly Fest in Fort Worth. And, well, I've not missed one since it first started several years back. And, well, I think about 2-3 years ago, I started doing a live stream while on site there. In fact, I got a little sunburned this last round. What's nice about the event is it's a fly fishing event that has a bunch of things to offer, but on top of all that, there's a fly fishing contest for the biggest trout. And, well, this one did well. The winner last week was a young gentleman who caught a 23.5-inch rainbow trout. This is in Fort Worth, just basically downtown Fort Worth area, or along the Trinity River, along the banks by the Acme Brick Company. So there are some big trout. There may be still a few lurking there, but he caught it, a 23.5-inch rainbow trout that won the contest using a tiny San Juan worm. I'm guessing when I saw it, it was maybe a size 12, size 14. All right. And then the team that won the team event that caught, excuse me, 14 trout in their heat. They caught those Euro nymphing using the mega worm. And it was pretty interesting. If you see some of the videos I posted for that, do check them out. You can see, especially heat one, the first one of the day, you could see how that technique was used to basically just get these fish to strike. And those are perfect conditions for Euro nymphing because you're fishing close to yourself where you're standing, maybe a rod length away, and they are down in some fast water deep, and you need to get your fly down there to get them to strike. And sure enough, this team did it with, well, 14 done right in front of me. I did it live on the on our live stream while we were on site. Okay, so that was TRWD Fly Fest. There may be an opportunity still to maybe catch some of those bruisers that are still over there lurking. It's a put and take fishery at this point, so they want you to catch them, they want you to keep them, and they're definitely bigger than your normal stalker trout that you get here in the Texas area. Okay, next one is, I just want to go over some recent videos that I posted that, well, get you ready for the upcoming warm weather season, in this case, the spring season. So this first one, I'm showing you this, I call it the Nedster, and it's a fishing fly that is more of a variant of the original one that I put, which is made with some yarn, 2 pieces of yarn, a hook, some bead heads, and it gets its tail to float. In the original one, I was just using a UV glue to float the tail, and this kind, I added this foam piece to the end, secured it to the tail, and it rides nicely in a perfect vertical that will get your bass to strike. So that was the first video I wanted to discuss. So think about that. Next one is it's a tube fly. I forgot about this, and in fact, I ordered some more tubes because I'm running out. And what happens here is it gives you the opportunity to catch a fish, and because the hook is not secured to the fly, it's able to, well, get the fly out of the way, and you're actually fishing that fly and fighting that fish directly on the hook with no encumbrance of that fishing fly that maybe pull it off or whatnot and end up losing that fish. All right, and then this next one is upcoming warm weather season. We got the kayak fishing slash get out into the local lake and do some fishing. And here I'm just demonstrating the bottom bouncing technique. This is where I'll cast it out, a slab and jig rig, get it down to the bottom, and I'll use my kayak, either back paddling or using the current or wind to bounce the bottom. And based on the movement or action on my tip of my rod tip, I could see when I get a strike or not. And in many cases, I'm able to catch, I can say, a good limit of be it white bass, yellow bass, and a little mix of crappie. And in this case, I also caught a Casper goo in the middle of all that. So keep a slab and jig rig handy. And plan to do some bottom bouncing when you get the opportunity. I do have some videos available on the YouTube channel, COAF Field Team on YouTube. Check a look at those. You can see the slab and jig rig that I'm using, as well as that bottom bouncing technique. And then, oh, by the way, you can also have some kayak fly fishing fun In this case, I'm over here at the local lake over here by, I believe, the water treatment plant, where there's always some current and whatnot. And what I'm doing here is I'm using a 6-weight fly rod, and I'm using the OPST commando head. It's a shooting style head, one-handed spey casting, and in these cramped conditions, low on the water, that extra weight and being able to shoot it out there readily, even though I'm laying low on the water, has been a definite boon for me. So take a look at those videos. I just posted them as little YouTube shorts, but there's also some related videos that go into more detail on what happened in those particular events. So keep it in your back pocket. TRWD Fly Fest. There are trout still in the river, and it's a put and take fishery at this point, and it's going to get warm on us, so we got to get those caught. And then 2, do keep in mind, if you're going to do any fly fishing or even just normal traditional fishing, spinning, casting, etc., we've got the bass spawn that's going to be happening here, if not already. And a Ned rig, or in this case, that Nedster variant of a fishing fly that rides tail up is perfect for getting these spawning bass to strike. So keep that in your back pocket. Additionally, I do have that tube fly. I'm kind of saving that one. I think that would be great if you hit the local river or local creek and use it for some of those white bass, or sandies as they call locally here. It's a white feathered two-plumed tube fly with a red head, and it works really well. It actually sinks fairly well or readily, to where I believe you'll be able to catch some white bass with that one as well. And then, of course, you got kayak fishing. I've got the opportunity to do the bottom bouncing slab and jig rigs over here at the local lake, and I plan on doing that once things warm up on us. And then additionally, we've got that kayak fly fishing, and then, oh, stay tuned. I've got these jug lines. I've posted them on the channel as well, that has a self-setting capability where I can deploy these fairly quickly, and basically they're already set at the depth that I want it to, and it locks in place so that I can just come back around, and next thing I'm doing is just mainly monitoring the take by a particular catfish on a jug line, or coming back and rebaiting them. All right, so all for now. Appreciate y'all joining. This is the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing series with the Real Cast Fishing Podcast, and I'm your host, Glenn, with the City Valley Fishing Field Team. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later, and good luck and good fishing.